Shalom, shalom, Israel, coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. First off, giving all praises, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth. With truth and sincerity, may you be of the elect. Shalom to all the Akim and the Akwath out there listening and learning. You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, who are the true children of Israel, as well as you speckled bird, Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that look like, act like, and take on the customs of all these heathen nations. So to you, I say shalom, and may you be of the elect. This lesson is brought to you by the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the true name of our Father, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, Bah Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahweh Shai being the only begotten Son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls by the name of JC. And this is a news article that was put out a few days ago. And it reads, Sweden implants micro in citizens, replacing IDs, wallets, and keys. All right. Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC. This is something you might want to read. All right. And it says, what once read like a page from a science fiction novel or the scriptures, right? In Revelation 13 chapter, right? It says, what once read like a page from a science fiction novel is now a lived reality in Sweden. Over 6,000 Swedes have voluntarily opted to have microchips implanted in their hands, replacing traditional items like ID cards, credit cards, and keys. This is not a government mandate. It is a grassroots movement driven by everyday convenience. And that's the whole thing about it. This is why a lot of people are going to get fucking destroyed, because it's all about convenience. You know, right now, look at these cars, right? They're trying to do away with fuel cars to make way for more EV, electric vehicles. Why? For the convenience, you know? And is it convenient to the consumer? Yes, for the most part, right? They don't have to buy CD players anymore, or get a vehicle that's got CD opt, or, an aux cord, right? A lot of these vehicles now have Bluetooth, so you can just connect your YouTube or your Spotify or whatever the fuck you got and play your music that way, right? What else is it? It's got GPS in the vehicle now. You don't have to buy a Garmin or a fucking Navigon, or things that you would use back in the day, MapQuest, to find your way. They got an automatic GPS in vehicles now. Well, for what? Convenience, right? And they're doing the same thing with credit cards, debit cards, right? Started with the little SIM card, but now, people can hack. They can take your you can get mugged, have your cards taken. You can have people hack your ATM, shit like that. So what are they trying to make it an easier way, a convenient way? So just have it in your system, have it in your body, right? It says the right-sized devices, typically inserted between the thumb and index finger, rely on near-field communication, NFC, technology. The same system powering contactless bank cards and mobile payments. They carry no battery and activate only when held close to a compatible reader. You can actually go to, what is that? Woodlands, Mariano's. I forget what one of these stores, but you can actually pay with your palm. And how is that? Obviously, your flesh can't do it, but it's this, as they're speaking about, this right-sized device within underneath that person's skin, right, within their flesh, and all they got to do is wave it across this thing, or just as this says, NFC, near field communication, just in the close proximity of this thing, and it'll pay for your goods, or be able to enter into a house or into a vehicle or enter to your place of work. All for what? Convenience. Oh, I don't have to fumble around for my keys anymore. Sweet. Convenience. Oh, man, I left my debit credit card at home. Oh, that's all right. I've got my device. Sweet. Oh shit! I don't have my keys to get in my car, get my get into my job, get into my house. Oh, that's right. Beep beep. All I have to do is wave my hand. Convenience, and that's what a lot of these people trying to get a hold of. The convenience, right? Trying to live in today's society, right? They got to be a part of the it brand, right? They can't be left behind having old stuff. That's old school. That's the old way. We're going to make way for the new way. A lot of these people don't even know they're about to be fucking destroyed, man. It says, with a simple wave of the hand, right? Users can unlock office doors, validate train tickets, access gyms, and store personal information. Tasks that once demanded a pocket full of cards and keys. Some even use the chips to restore medical information and connect with digital business tools. Sweden, long celebrated for its technology ingenuity, was already sprinting toward a cashless economy. Many shops no longer accept physical currency at all. In this context, the leap from a contactless card to an embedded chip feels less like a radical experiment and more like an inevitable next step. Inevitable next step. All right? And you can read the rest if you like, but we're going to get into the lesson itself. All right? So this lesson is titled Sweden Implants the Microchips, right? The Microchips in citizens, replacing IDs, wallets, and keys. The Revelation 13th, more prevalent, right? Revelation 13th chapter is becoming more and more prevalent. All right? Now, let's go ahead and read that. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. Getting straight to it. Starting at I'll start at verse 15. Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image, right? The image being the NWO, the New World Order of the beasts, that the image of the beast, right? The beast being NATO, right? The EU, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, right? So pretty much NATO and the EU, right? They conglomerate to make the beast, right? That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Because there's going to be a few of us, Lord willing, I'm one of them few, that are not going to bow and take the microchip. All right? We don't give a fuck about convenience. All right? The only true convenience that's going to be here is when Yahweh Shai returns. All right? And the kingdom is established upon earth. That's the only convenience that there is. Why? Because all the evil is going to be stamped out. All lies are going to be diminished. All right? And truth will prevail. You know? That's the only true convenience that we have. Everything else is this shit is trash, man. Everything is about to be put down. All right? Anybody getting these chips? Well, we about to read into it. So yeah, there's going to be a select few that are going to actually be killed because they refuse to be down with this system. All right? And they even might even be made martyrs in front of people. You know, just to scare people into taking it. Hey, so be it, man. You know, somebody got to do it. You know, verse 16, Revelation 13:16, it says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. It could be anywhere in the body. Point blank, period. All right? For what? The convenience. Okay? And it doesn't matter what your status is. It doesn't matter if you poor, if you rich. All right? Whether you, subject for, servitude, or you're a free person. It doesn't matter. It's saying anybody and everybody. It's pretty much this is going to be worldwide. Okay? It says, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, except the person that has the mark, the microchip, okay? Or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, For it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 His number is 600 three scores is 60 and 6, right? 666. Chi Psi Stigma. 666, right? So this is going into the microchip. This is what the convenience of the world is going for, right? Like this article is speaking on. Let's read this article, the simple part again. It says, with a simple wave of the hand, users can unlock office doors, validate train tickets, access gyms, and store personal information, tasks that once demanded a pocket full of cards and keys. Some even use the chips to store medical information and connect with digital business tools. Right? All this to do what? To make a cashless economy. Right? And said it was an inevitable next step. You see that? So you're not going to be able to be an active participant in society unless you have this, because this is the wave. This is the next wave that they're going for, right? And this, as I said, the inevitable, right? Ezekiel chapter 9. Damn it. Ezekiel chapter 9, I'm going to read 4 through 6. It says, and Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So all the ones that are going to have that thawah, right, that mark of redemption, these are the ones that's out there on the highways and the hedges. These are the ones telling our people, the Negroes, the Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, things that are pleasing to the Lord and things that are not pleasing to him. We're the ones that's talking about the MO to the T and the B, right? We're the ones talking about how World War III was coming, all right? We're the ones talking about, in these last days, these false prophets, right? And these wicked-ass pastors and preachers, Pastor Porkchop, right? They're going to tell you that God loves everybody and that salvation is universal. The men of the Lord, them of great millstone, precisely, are speaking against that. We're not teaching universal salvation. There's no such thing as universal salvation. In fact, when you read the scriptures, all throughout the scriptures, it said that the Lord was coming back for who? His children, the lost sheep of Israel, right? The 12 tribes that were scattered abroad, those that were in captivity, right? Those that are Israelites. Read Romans chapter 9, starting at verse 1. All right? St. John 4 and 22 will tell you the salvation is of the Jews, the Israelites. Okay? Joel 2 and 27, it says, I am in the midst of Israel and none else. He created all these other nations, right? But he only cares about his people. All these other nations have their gods and goddesses, as it were, right? What they believe, right? But the only true power is the God of Israel, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is Yahweh, right? And his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, all right? Everything else is false. But you got these wicked-ass pastors and preachers in these false Israelite camps that are going to tell you salvation is universal, and it's not, okay? It's not, right? So they're the ones those that are out there that are screaming out against all this bullshit. Again, them of great millstone, they're the ones that's going to have that thawah, the good mark. All right? Now, on the other hand, right, because there's always a balance. Those are going to have a good mark and those are going to have a bad mark. The bad mark are those that's going to actually receive this MO to the T and the B. For all those people that have it right now, they've already fucked themselves, right? Whether they knew this truth or not. And I'm only talking about the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians. I don't give a shit about these other nations. These other nations can do what the fuck they want to do. The people of Israel, the Negroes, the Hispanic, the Native, and Seminole Indians, the true people of Israel, we are not supposed to be on that shit. We are to make Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai our power, not devices made by man. Once you get that device in your body, man, you pretty much forfeit your soul for salvation. Point blank, period. All right? But I'm going to read this, Ezekiel 9 and 5. It says, and to the others, right, those that are not sighing and crying, those that are actually with this system, those that's with the bullshit, those that are going to receive the MO to the B, MO to the T and the B willingly, all right, those that oppose the scriptures, those that oppose the men of the Lord and oppose Yahweh Shai and Yahweh, all right, and they want to do everything contrary to the scriptures, this precept is for them, Ezekiel 9:5. And to the others, he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So don't have no pity on nobody. The ones that got that charagma, all right, the bad mark, he said don't spare. I don't give a fuck if they're a baby. You know what I'm saying? We're going to read it. Verse 6, it says, slay utterly, old and young. OG from the block, slay. Young nigga just born two days ago, slay. Both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, that thawah. Those that sighing and crying about the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Those that are rehearsing the righteous acts. Those that call upon Yahweh Yahweh Shai. Those that keep the Sabbath. Right? Rehearsing the righteous acts to the best of our ability. You see? Those that are having works. Right? Preaching this gospel. Whether they hear or forbear. That's the ones that's going to have that thawah. Right? Where we get ridiculed by the world. Get made fun of, poked, mocked, scoffed, whatever. And we'll deal with all this because we know it's temporary for one. Two, Yahweh Shai went through it all, and we're not greater than our master. And thirdly, all this for righteousness' sake, hey, we're gonna do it. Because we know at the end thereof with all this. All the people that's doing all this shit right now, talking shit, they're gonna die. Anybody gonna receive the MO to the T and B, they're gonna die. Mock, scoff, talk shit, die. Point blank period. Offended us, die. Right? And we know this. All right? So we don't worry about it. When we teach this word, we're teaching this word to wake up the hopeful elect. We don't care about you 2/3. We can give a fuck. You were made to be on the other side. Right? You were made to be the ones to get that charagma. All right? So again, verse 6, Ezekiel 9:6. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And that's talking about the Israelites that know that they're Israelites, but they teaching bullshit. Teaching Most High Christ bless, right? Teaching JC name or what is Yeshua or Yahweh, all this bullshit. The Israelites that are teaching that shit, man, they're gonna fucking die. Right? So it says why it started us? Because we know better. At least we should have known better. We had a good understanding, right? So it only makes sense. You see? Thessalonians. What the hell? I think it's supposed to be. Hold on. It's supposed to be second. Let me go back in here. Read it from the book. This is 2 Thessalonians 2. I don't know why I put just Thessalonians. I know damn well. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. And I'm going to read through 4, and then I'm going to jump to 8 through 12. Right? So 2 Thessalonians 2 and 1, it says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of Mashiach is at hand, because he is coming, and he's coming with Michael, right? Rip this place a fucking new one. Hallelujah. Verse 3, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling falling away first, right? That's 70 AD, right? Israel had to go down, right? And that's when we're going into losing our heritage, right? You go into Jeremiah 17:4. Matter of fact, let me get it real quick. This is Jeremiah 17:4. It says, "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For you have killed it with fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." So we got put on punishment, man, for a time, for a season. You see? And we lost our heritage. We lost our way. All right, so getting back into 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there coming a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau." Right? You go into Revelation chapter 6. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. All right, and this is talking about Esau, right? It says, "And there went out another horse that was red." When you go in the beginning, right, Esau was first born. He came out red all over like a hairy garment, right? "And there went out another horse that was red," which is Esau, "and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth." Right? Taking peace from the earth. That's this devil. And we can see that. We don't even need the scriptures to see that. We know who's running things these days. The elites. We know what nation of people that they look like. We know these devils, right? "To take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword." Right? Was not Esau blessed with a sword? All right. Go to Genesis chapter 27. This is Genesis chapter 20. I'm going too far. This is Genesis chapter 27. And this is verse 38. Genesis 27, verse 38. "And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept." He cried like a bitch. "And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother." Because right now Esau's on top. But see, Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's why right now we're serving Esau. We're serving our big brother, but the big brother is going to serve the younger brother, right? Which it says, verse 40, Genesis 27 and 40, "And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." Verse 41, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The day of mourning for my father art at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." And Esau had a perpetual hatred towards Jacob ever since. All right. But it said what? Going back to Revelation 6 and verse 4, at the bottom it said, "And there was given unto him a great sword." See, so we know this is talking about Esau, Edom. He was blessed with the sword to take peace from the earth. Right? Now, skipping down to verse 8. It says, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, and for the testimony which they held." And that's going to be a few Israelites that know that we're Israelites, and we're going against the grain of these people, this world, right? By teaching this doctrine, teaching the right word, right? Teaching the right names. And some of us are going to get martyred. All right? It's going to happen. All right? It says, verse 10, And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Because their blood's going to cry out, just like Abel. His blood cried out when Cain slew him. And it says, verse 11, it says, and white robes were given unto every one of them, that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. And I beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Right? So this is going into, there's going to be some that take that MO to the T and the B. A lot of people are going to take it, but a few are not. And those few that will not, they're the ones that's going to have to give up the ghost, right? As it said in verse 9, it says, under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High and for the testimony which they held, right? So some of us are going to have to taste death. Hey, so be it, man. You know, we know what it's for. That's sort of a badge of honor when you really think about it. You know? Let me get back to this. Let me get back to this. Where did I leave off? Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians. All right, 2 Thessalonians. I read down to. Oh no, I didn't read all that. The man of perdition. So the son of perdition, which is Esau Edom, the one who's made to be condemned. All right. Who opposes and exalts. This is verse 4, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. Who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And it's not Nero 47. Is he not doing this right now? Is he not trying to make himself known and telling people that the Most High God is talking to him and basically anointed him to be, get the fuck out of here. You're a fucking Edomite through and through, man. All right, Nero. All right. And I'm looking at this coin in the Bible here. That would look like a young Nero 47, to be honest. But anyway, now I'm going to skip down to verse 8 through 12. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, right? The man of perdition, Esau, right? The self-proclaimed white man, who the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Because Yahweh Shai is coming, man, with a fleet of chariots, man. All right. But right now he's being revealed and destroyed by what? The way of the prophets, by the mouthpiece of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, the prophets teaching his word. All right. Bringing truth to the world, which was so long without. All right. It says, verse 9, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, such as the MO to the T and the B. Everybody thinking it's such a great thing, this convenience, right? Lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of the unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, had pleasure in taking this MO to the T and the B. They had pleasure in talking shit about the men of the Lord. They had pleasure in talking shit about Yahweh Shai. They despise Yahweh. Right? Point blank, period. Because if you move contrary to this word and you're so-called Negro, Hispanic, Native, Seminole Indian, then that means you're opposed to the Lord. You're at enmity with the Lord. You are of this world. You are of your father, the devil. Right? Everything he's into, you into. And we're going to know. Because if you take the MO to the T and the B, we know you were really, really down with the system. You chose not to listen to the prophets. Therefore, you're going to eat the fruit of your own way. You know? Read all that. Yeah, that's pretty much the point. Right? So this is Sweden is up to. Now we know when you look at the demographic of Sweden, we know that they pretty much all Edomites, man. All right? They're pretty much all Edomites. You know? And this proves it. They're not thinking about the Most High God, Yahweh Shemel Shai. In fact, if I remember right, Sweden and Norway, a lot of them have the Norse religious practice. They believe in Thor and Odin and Freya and Floki or Loki and all these names, right, that they go by. That's what they believe in. So they're not thinking about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're not thinking about the scriptures. They're not thinking about Revelation 13 chapter. You see? But those that are truly with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we're going to teach this word. We're going to speak on prophecies, all right, to prepare and to get prepared and to warn our people, whether they hear or forbear, right? Ezekiel 3:17 through 19. Ezekiel 3:10 through 11. All right. So when we warn, hey, that blood is off of our hands, man. All right. But we just doing our part. So the word is out. This information is out there. Now, if you're going to be willingly ignorant and take it, hey, you've been told. And it's got nothing to do with me. I did my part. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. Giving all praises, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles, and elder bishops, great millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing the word in truth with truth and sincerity. May you be of the elect, stay prayed up, repent, and above all. Kwam Rasharala Shalom.